Women's Day, I thought it was most fitting to speak with her, not only because of her role as the president of the Board of Education, but her personal journey that she experienced as only a woman can. So I do want to introduce you. Those of you who do not know Nancy LaCourte, this is Nancy LaCourte in all her glory, and we are accompanied here by Harley and Gina and Larry, who are her adopted dachshund, pit bulls, and pussycat, who are breathing in the background. So we are having a multi-family event. And again, Nancy, your role as the Board of Education president, that you are at the top of the list of those who are in charge of the care and educating and the welfare of so many of our Franklin Township kids. And that is it's such an honor and such a responsibility. Tell us a little bit about your role, how you feel about it, and what you think your significance is in it.
So as the president of the board, I am part of a 9-member team, and we do things together, and we work in sync with administration, who basically run the schools. We are responsible for the superintendent, the policy, and the budget, which really kind of drives everything that's happening within the schools. I'm the voice of the board. I preside over the meetings, but it's the board collectively, and we have a cohesive board where we're working together. We have incredible conversations, don't always agree on things, and then we, talk them out like grown-ups do, and we come to a resolution about things. So it's such a wonderful experience to serve on the Board of Ed, and I'm really happy to do it.
Do you think it has made a difference because you are a woman?
No, we typically have had female presidents of the Board of Ed, but immediately before me was Ed Potosnik, who is now a council person. But yeah, it's usually like, a mix of both, and depending on what town you go to, you have 5-member boards of education, you have 9-member boards of education. So I don't think being a female makes a difference of how I lead, it's not relevant in that role, my gender. So.
What about your sensitivity?
I'm a mother and I'm a grandmother. So I went through Franklin schools. My brother did, who just recently passed away. My kids have gone through Franklin schools. So I'm a warrior for life. And that's a title that I'm actually probably, out of any designation that I've gotten for doing service, that's probably one I'm so incredibly proud of, because it's a homegrown recognition, and it just means a lot for that. But as a mother, as a grandmother, as a former student of Franklin, as the mother of former students of Franklin, I think that guides how I think. I think that I put the child first. That's why we're there. We're not paid. It's a lot of time, a lot of sweat and sometimes tears, but it's so rewarding when you walk into a classroom and you can see the light go off when a kid gets it, or like teachers that come to present something to the curriculum committee. You can literally almost see them doing a cartwheel because they're so excited about the curriculum that they're presenting, or families that are engaged and volunteering and being active in their kids' lives. It's just like the whole, all of it just coming together. It's just it's such a beautiful part of Franklin,
Well, the fact that you are immersed from very, very early on in Franklin does give you an edge, and does give you, again, a sensitivity and a sensibility about Franklin kids. And you can see you can see the glow in their eyes. We see it. We go to the basketball games and somebody scores or somebody doesn't score. You see the empathy and you see the camaraderie and the teamwork, the excellence when someone achieves something, that it's shared. And that philosophy comes from higher up, that it's a gift of each other's knowledge being exponentially shared and grown from. And that does have a tremendous emanation from the top. And I think it does have tremendous significance that you are a woman at the top, because the mother factor, the motherly factor, and I'm not discounting a fatherly factor, please do not misunderstand me. The motherly factor is a different factor. And one thing I want to just set the Board of Ed aside for a moment and share with Franklin Township. Those of you who know Nancy personally also know that her courageous spirit, above so much else, dominates what she does and how she thinks and how she behaves. And Nancy has undergone a very personal journey fairly recently that I'd love for you to share with Franklin.
So I had gone for a mammogram, and it was the second mammogram I've ever gone for. And they told me to go back to get a different type of test. And I went to the wrong place, so I missed the appointment. And then I had COVID, and then get Christmas and Thanksgiving, and just a whole bunch of things got in the way. So I just kept putting that off. And then I was like, I should really go do that. So I went and did it, and not thinking anything, right? So the radiologist comes into the room, which is also never happens. And she said to me, I believe you have a RAD5 malignant tumor, and you need to go and see a breast surgeon, a breast specialist. So I don't know why my mind went to skater talk, RAD5, or like radical,
What does that mean in medical terms?
Radiology. But in terms of like kid talk, it means like something completely different. And I have no idea why my mind went there. And then I confused malignant and benign. And then I was like, breast specialist. I didn't even know that there was such a thing, because why would I ever know that, right? So I came home and I checked my insurance company to find a breast specialist. And lo and behold, there was one, but her office was in Sparta. So I called, or actually, she's got a few offices with Summit Medical Group, Dr. Priya Jadeja, who is like an amazing person to have begun this journey with. And I told her scheduler that, it was a RAD5 and everything. And so she said, come in tomorrow. So we went to Sparta, my husband and I, and then that's where the journey began. And like I said, she was the right person. I've had other experiences in my life with something kind of tragic, where the person who you meet at the beginning of the journey is not the person to guide you through the rest of that journey. So she's fantastic, and her entire team is like incredible. And she sent me to go meet my plastic surgeon, Daniel Schmidt, in Morristown. And
Let's backtrack just a little bit. You needed breast surgery.
yeah,
This was not a lumpectomy.
no, I needed to have a mastectomy. And at one point it was like really kind of contingent upon BRCA tests, which she did, and they came back negative. And that was important for my children as well, because they have children, and breast cancer, prostate cancer, and pancreatic cancer kind of are like a triangle. And my father died of prostate cancer, and my brother just passed from pancreatic cancer. So it's like, wow. But it came back negative. So I was thinking, okay, well, maybe I'll do both of them. And then it sounds so stupid, but a lot of times people think of women like, you visualize somebody, right? Like, what do you look like? What's the first thing that you see? And I was an extremely top-heavy woman. That would be the first thing that people would see, right? And that's what I thought that people identified with because a few people commented on it. But that was me. That was like my issue, right?
What do you mean commented?
It's like throughout my life, people have, made comments on being top heavy, right? And inappropriate comments, and even as a teenager or like, throughout my life, right? I guess now it would be, and even then, sexual harassment. So, but I thought that that's how people identified with me. So I was like, okay, and I like researched everything, and I kept reading and reading and reading, and you, and you go down these rabbit holes, and my doctor's like, stop reading.
Too much information.
Yeah, because I keep like questioning her and stuff, and all of the doctors that she sent me to were fantastic, and I had a pulmonologist because I have asthma, who quit right before I was getting cleared for surgery, like literally a month before. And so I had no pulmonologist. I had to be examined for that. And Dr. Jadeja got me Dr. Ahmad, who also part of their group, and took me in right away. And so now she's my pulmonologist. And it's that team, right? And I didn't have a primary physician because I just hate going to the doctor. Or I did. I really hated going to the doctor. So as a woman, I think you blow off your own care a lot of the time.
That's a very important thing to say. I think we get so involved in those we are caring for or responsible to be caring for that we put ourselves last on the list. You did not put yourself last on this list this time.
Yeah, this time, this was about me, right? So I apologize for my dog crying, but this was me, and I needed to take care of me. So I wound up, Dr. Kramer, our mayor, referred me to his physician, who is phenomenal, Dr. Selk, and totally different health group. So like all of these doctors have been the right people to be on this journey with. So I had the surgery on July 28th.
And the surgery was a complete mastectomy of the breast.
Of my right breast, yes. So we got there at 7 o'clock or a little bit earlier in Florham Park, right? So the surgery was from 7 to 9. From 9 to 11 was recovery, and I was home by noon. And before I had my surgery, my kids came up from Florida with my grandchildren, and my stepdaughters and my other grandchildren. So they all got together, right? My daughter came from the city with her boyfriend. So I kind of got to see everybody, and that was like something that was really driving me.
Because you had to cook.
I had
Oh, never mind.
Oh, what? This is what? No. So
Nothing like company to raise your spirits about let's recover fast.
yeah. So, but I got a lot of things done, right? Because I had a deadline, and I work well with deadlines, and so it's like, okay, I have to have everything done because I'm not going to be able to do anything after my surgery. Cooking was never, on my list, and it probably will never be on my list of things to do because it's not something I do. But so I had the surgery, and I think I went back to the doctor like 2 days later or something, and then I kept having to have procedures done because you go back to the breast surgeon, and then you continue to see the plastic surgeon because he puts an expander in. I didn't have an implant put in directly. So
An expander is?
kind of like an inner tube, right? Because the breast has been removed. So there's an inner tube, and he puts a fluid in it to expand it slowly over time to stretch the skin. But there were a lot of issues with that. So everything that had been done in surgery in terms of putting in like the expander and inflating it had to be redone, had to be removed, and had to start that part all over. And kind of like every time I went to Dr. Schmidt's office, it was, I just went into the procedure room. I was so comfortable, just going in there. And it was the staff, right? that make you feel like it's okay. You know, like I remember giving birth to my son, and it was an emergency C-section, and looking at the doctor's eyes over his mask, and I was like, I'm okay, right? And it's the same thing with, you know, with the people that have been taking care of me. So that kind of backed it up 3 months. And I lost like pretty much most of the skin tissue. And then I started back up getting fills again. And so it's like they put a needle in because there's like a port, and then they fill it. And I was doing great with that, right? And then we have Kid Christmas. So our kids, like for my stepdaughters, so it was on December 30th. So on December 28th, I was, you know, sterilizing my house. And I was standing on the high step of a step ladder, and I don't know what I was thinking, and I fell, right? And I've had trauma to my knees, so I was like, you know, screaming about my knee. The dog was under the table. My phone was on the kitchen table, and I'm like laying there screaming, and then I'm looking up the ceiling, like, wow, I got to paint the ceiling now.
That's typically female. Oh my God, where's my to-do list? Yeah. And one of the things that I don't mean to interrupt you, Nancy, but this has been such an incredible journey for this woman, such a formidable way of approaching it, which is what I found so impressive, that throughout the entirety of it, you had your share of fear. You had your share of, oh my God, how did this happen? But I trust my team. But the way you approached it, was just so incredible, Franklin, that there was never not a smile on this face. And I remember it was either Franklin Day or Election Day where Nancy had a big decal right over the breast that said, I voted. And it's not like you hid what you went through. You approached it formidably. You approached it with courage. You approached it with, I have a wonderful team. They're going to fix this, and then my life is going to go on. And not only is it going to go on, it did go on. It never got in your way. It was like part of your to-do list. Okay, well, I had this breast cancer. I'm going to get rid of the cancer. And oops, I have to lose the breast in the process. But okay, I'll do what I have to do to reconstruct or whatever my path is going to be. And that's one of the things that I felt was so significant to speak with Nancy today, because this is the journey, or a journey of terror, potentially, of a woman. And although, yes, sometimes men do get breast cancer, but it's hardly the same trauma. The breast is the ultimate symbol of femininity. It's the ultimate girlness. And to be dealing with the loss of it on any level, and the potential for it to be as life-threatening as breast cancer can be, that you, I won't say sailed through it, but let's say you glided through it. You trusted your team. You found a great team. You had faith. You had strength. You had a husband to support you and do most of the cooking, as usual. Do all the cooking. But again, Franklin, I just want to emphasize that there's tremendous courage in what Nancy LaCourte went through, and this journey is not over. What's the next step?
Well, before I get into that, I just want to say that was my journey, right? I'm married.
But you have an inspiration, whether you were married or single, your mindset was victory.
Right. I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, I've shared my journey, right? So Bob had a different journey. And it wasn't until after my surgery when I realized he needed to share his experiences and surround himself with his friends. You know, to be able to get through things. And my kids needed the same thing, you know, but I handle things with humor, right? Yeah. So, and there was, and I had an option, you know, have cancer, not have cancer. It's pretty easy, right? But so my next step is I went and saw my doctors on Friday. Actually, both of them, breast specialist and the for my 6-month checkup, and my plastic surgeon. And They said that they can do the exchange at any time, but I have to go and have a test on my other breast to make sure that it's okay.
Exchange?
So the exchange is you take out the expander, right? Because and then
placeholder.
exactly.
Right. Okay.
So you take out the expander, and then you put in an implant, and then they can, they can tattoo an areola and tattoo a nipple, and then there's also like 3D nipples. So I said to the plastic surgeon, and I obviously didn't realize why I was saying this, but Phil Kramer has a 3D printer. So I said, "Oh, you mean my mayor can like make a nipple for me?" And he just was like, and I didn't elaborate on it. So I, obviously lost the humor on that. But so there's a lot of things that you can do, and there's a lot of people willing to help. But the most important thing is that I had a problem. I blew it off. Like I blew off everything, like other health issues, right, for so long. And when you blow them off, you go from a cold to having pneumonia, right? So, now I'm addressing things. And
You certainly did not blow this off. From the second you found out, you took charge.
oh yeah, I did. So, soon I'm going to do the exchange. I just want to lose a little bit more weight because obviously being, thinner helps with the recovery. But it sounds so stupid, but I'm going to continue to see Dr. Schmidt for a while because, of the tattooing and everything else and making tweaks. But I'm really kind of going to miss them, and like who would miss a cancer doctor, right? Or a plastic surgeon who's not giving me a tummy tuck, which is what I thought I was getting. I requested that. But who would miss that? And it's just because of the partnership,
Of course.
right? That I'm going to miss. So, and then life goes on from there. But the important message is don't blow, like, if something is wrong, go to the doctor. If you don't feel that the answer that you've gotten from the doctor is, if you don't feel that you've been seen and heard, okay, and I was seen and I was heard, and that was important. But if you don't feel that you've gotten that, then go find somebody who sees you, and you'll get the care that you need. So yeah, like I didn't have to go through chemo. I didn't have to go through radiation. I don't have to take tamoxifen, like excuse me, like so many other people have. And I'm really lucky. I'm really, really lucky. And this is my journey, and everybody's journey is different. And I feel for other people. I mean, I belong to a Facebook support group, and listening to other women's stories and other women's survival is just incredible, And even not only like breast cancer, other types of cancer, listening to people with their stories or their family's survival, is just incredible. So, yeah.
Well, I think the overriding sentiment on this International Women's Day is that we have an incredible inner strength. I'm not going to say it's more than what a man has, but it's on a different level. And we support each other. We support each other's journeys, as Nancy was telling us. This was such an amazingly personal story that you shared with Franklin Township. And again, most people who know you don't know this story. But your journey serves as a tremendous inspiration to, number one, don't ignore it. Do not ignore it. I've been there. I have not had cancer, but I've had 5 scares and 5 removals. And each time I thought, oh my God, this is going to be the time. And it wasn't. I was very, very lucky. But you wonder. And again, it's the femininity issue is so strong that somehow you get through it. If you are of a nature to pray, you do a lot of that. And certainly what Nancy LaCourte did was make sure she had an incredible team around her who, again, as she said, saw her, listened to her, and worked with her to achieve the ends of total recovery. And again, with a smile and with the most amazing sense of humor. I mean, arrows pointing sometimes, and I voted right there, right there. Whereas a lot of people would be hiding it. You called attention to it because you called attention to how to handle it.
Well, initially I didn't, because initially I was uncomfortable. And then I went out and with some friends of ours, and it was like, let's go someplace not in Franklin, where I'm not going to see anybody that I know. And so I felt comfortable doing that, right? But then it's just kind of like, well, I am what I am, and I've always been. I am what I am, like Popeye mentality, right? So this is who I am, and like I have scars, other scars on my body from other things, and I have this scar, and I'm proud of this scar because I did something. I had a problem, I addressed it, and now it's like next steps.
And as a formidable, significant, caring, sentient woman in Franklin Township, what would be your advice for women in Franklin? Not only if they had this problem, but just move forward as a woman. What do you think?
Oh, that's a tough one. Just be who you are. If you want kindness, spread kindness, give kindness, right? You have to love yourself before you can love other people. You have to learn to not overcommit. I think as women, we have a tendency of overcommitting. I've definitely done that in the past couple of weeks. But just recognize your limitations, and mostly, like, it's all about self-care. Like, it's not just getting your mammogram. It's your physical health, right? Your mental health, your spiritual health, and go out and laugh, right? And love, and that will make you feel so much better.
And being good and being kind to others.
Being kind, kind is my word, right? Like, I love saying to people, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. I think it's Dr. Seuss quote. And be truthful, like always be honest, be your true self. So, those are important qualities to me and people, anybody. My kids know if you lie to me, it's, we're done. Yeah. Like, they got 2 chances growing up, but like now it's kind of like, don't lie to me. So.
Well, they know better by now.
I hope so.
Again, we're speaking with Nancy LaCourte, who is the Board of Education president here in Franklin Township, and an extraordinary leader who's just shared an extraordinary journey with all of you. So again, if someone would want to chat with you about this, are you open?
Definitely. Like, if somebody wants to talk to me about anything, I have no problem talking about people. Talking to people. You can call me, email me, whatever.
Email is?
My personal email or my...
Wherever you might want to invite somebody to have a conversation with you.
n.lacourte@gmail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, we thank you, Ms. Nancy LaCourte, for sharing this. Again, on International Women's Day, we have so many formidable, incredible women in Franklin Township. So we appreciate that you took the time.
Thank you.
So thank you. And to the rest of Franklin Township, celebrate the women in Franklin Township as we celebrate all of you. This is PJ Parker, Franklin reporter and advocate, saying thank you for tuning in. We'll be back.
See ya.